We love it every single week. Baldy talking football with the morning roast. Good morning, Brian Baldinger. Week 2 of the preseason in the books as the Ravens had their, 25-game winning streak snapped in the preseason yesterday by Washington, and they celebrated like they won the Super Bowl. But let's talk some quarterbacks here. Let's talk 49er football, and let's start with Brock Purdy. Baldy, out here in the Bay Area, I don't get it. They averaged 32.5 points per game with Brock Purdy at quarterback. He could do no wrong. He missed Debo for 3 games, and yet this offense continued to hum. And yet there's a lack of excitement for this offense. When I'm looking on paper under Kyle Shanahan, this feels like the best offense he's ever had in San Francisco, Baldy.
I would agree. I don't think there's anything they can't do and won't be able to do when they get all their horses up front on the offensive line, and you get the tight end, the fullback. I mean, they look. Brock looked really good. I mean, he threw 5 passes. But his decision-making is what really separates him from the other quarterbacks on the roster. I mean, even the throwaway, where he could have thrown it to Ayuk, but really the linebacker was sitting back there. He was right in the passing lane. Then he just made a quick, instant decision. It's first down. You know what? Throw it away. Throw it away, go to second down. Even on 3rd and 10 where he scrambled, he could have probably got it to Jennings, but why even risk it right there in the end zone? Like, don't risk it. It's the preseason. Doesn't really matter. Go get yourself 8 yards and let Kyle decide if you want to go for it on 4th down. His decision-making was flawless. And if you want to see his arm strength, look at the slant route that he threw to Ayuk for 15 yards. I mean, it was just, it was a laser. I don't know. I think he saw an awful lot for a guy that hadn't played really anything since, January, the end of January last year. I thought he was very, very sharp, and his decision-making was crisp.
Yeah, his rhythm and the chemistry with those guys is just like a sense of urgency. Boom, 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 right down the field like a point guard. I mean, it was incredible. Mm-hmm. If you were to list some things that would be your checklist of things that you're looking for from Purdy for this year, in a full year 2 for him, what would those things be?
Well, I mean, it always comes down to winning games. So who cares what your stats are if you're losing games? It's meaningless. So I'm not even going to say it's about winning games. It's a roster, a complete roster that has everything you need to be successful. Yes, they need Bosa back in the lineup. But I think that will get done. Even if it's in the 11th hour, it'll get done. So, I mean, the roster's loaded with proven players. And so, maybe Ronnie Bell helps them out, or, maybe they find a couple rookies on defense. Jair Brown looks like he's going to be a pretty good player. Saved a touchdown the other day. But, I mean, this is a roster that's ready to go. And it starts week 1 against a talented Pittsburgh team. So you're going to get major pressure from T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith and Nick Herbig and Cam Hayward. You're going to get major pressure from that front. How do you handle the pressure? And what decisions do you make? Do they get you to make mistakes? Or do you play mistake-free football and come out of Pittsburgh beating a really talented team? I mean, it's just about wins and how you guide this team. It's all on him. It's not pressure, but the position demands it. The position demands that you're at your best when you have to be at your best. And at the end, he'll throw a lot of touchdown passes. And if we saw anything over 6 or 8 weeks last year, he's not depending on one guy. The ball got spread around to everybody. Everybody ate. And that's why I think this thing was so much fun last year. McCaffrey got his, and Debo got his, and Ayuk was a factor, and the tight end had 7 touchdown catches from him when he looked invisible at times prior to his entry. So this thing is about wins. Winning big games and winning on the road and beating Seattle and winning big games. That's what he's there for to do. And that's how I would look at year 2 for him.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get to the other quarterbacks in a second, but on that first drive, and he did it all game, TDP just completely whiffs on a block. The drop-off from CMC to TDP feels massive.
Yeah, well, I don't think any of the backs look real good right now, without Mitchell in there and without Christian McCaffrey in there, whether it's Mason right now or TDP or, Jeremy McNichols, who's been bouncing around this league for a long time. It doesn't look special to me at that position with those other guys.
Baldy, I got to ask you about the offensive line. You talk about facing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I agree with you. That front is going to be tough. But last year I had a lot of questions about the offensive line because we hadn't seen Banks. We hadn't seen Spencer Burford. We hadn't seen really Jake Brendel. Now they lose McGlinchey, but the other 4 guys are back. To me, the offensive line is less of a concern going into this season. And I thought they held up well on that first possession against the Denver Broncos last Saturday night. What'd you see from this offensive line? And are you concerned about them moving forward?
Well, I would be concerned about some of the depth. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what Jalen Moore was doing over there on the left side. Like, he didn't block anybody. Like, I don't know how the call got blown, but that's been happening. Twist stunts are giving him a problem right now. So I guess McKivitz is locked in at right tackle, but Matt Pryor played better last week than he did the week before. I mean, you can't coach that kind of size. He's the biggest guy in a 49er uniform there is. Now, size doesn't make all the difference in the world at right tackle, but, I want to see him with Banks and Brendel and Burford in there. Like, they were a good group. And so I would think they'll be a lot better, especially with the top 2 running backs in there. They'll be better. But you're always looking at depth in the offensive line, and we have seen Trent go down before. We have seen, Alex Mack go down. So in the past, you want to have depth, quality depth, guys that you can step in and not see any drop-off. And that's kind of what they're developing here, it looks to me, like in the preseason. Which guys can they count on? Which ones are going to get dressed? You got to have some position flexibility to play center guard, guard tackle, swing tackle. You need those 3 guys in case anything happens on Sunday.
Baldy, I have a theory that offensive line play is down all across the league. And there's a trickle-down effect from high school to Pop Warner to college because of all the spread systems. What do you see with the offensive line here? Because it does feel like defensive linemen are getting bigger, faster, and stronger, and they're getting deeper on every defensive line, and there's a lot of depth there. Offensive line, how much of the spread system has affected offensive line play in the NFL when you look at the college and the high school and the Pop Warner ranks?
Well, the NFL can only take what the college game gives you. Mm-hmm. And the college game is giving you spread offenses outside of maybe a couple schools in the Big Ten, a couple schools in the SEC that really play any kind of an NFL style of football. So the style is different. So defensively, it's different. All right. So, and then in high school, everybody is practicing less. Everybody is safety conscious, which is smart. But exactly when, and nobody's really hitting in training camp. So exactly when are your offensive linemen, let's just say Jalen Moore, like when is he supposed to get better at some of these techniques?
Right.
If you never really practice these techniques. So it is down. It's down. You're seeing breakdowns, teams that don't handle twist stunts very well, teams that don't have depth, because they're spending all their money on their star players, and they're ignoring it. And some offensive line coaches, maybe Bill Callahan in Cleveland, maybe, Jeff Stoutland in Philadelphia, some of these guys are almost magicians in how they're able to develop backline players into being able to play at a high level and step in and play. And so your offensive line coach better be your second best coach on your team right now.
What did you think of Sam Darnold and Trey Lance, the backup quarterback competition? Just your thoughts on both players.
Well, I thought Trey played better this week than he did last week, which is encouraging. Nobody wants to see your third pass or the third play of the game intercepted on a screen. It happens, though. It's a slow screen to the right, and the guy jumps up and takes it. It happens. He doesn't see – he's got some tunnel vision. Drew Sanders – he didn't see Drew Sanders, the rookie linebacker, and, thankfully the guy doesn't catch the ball very well. Otherwise, that'd be another interception. But, look, the touchdown to Latu for 22 yards was a laser, and it was the second read. He came across the formation, went from left to right, made a dime of a throw. The guy was open. The ball got there in a hurry. You see the talent. I just think he lacks playing time. Like, he just needs to play more. He just doesn't see the field great. Doesn't throw the ball with great anticipation yet. But I think that's all a byproduct of being rusty and not playing. So he takes off. And then Sam, look, he made a couple throws that were awesome throws. You like to see that. But I thought in both scrambles of his, and he took off, 2 times. On both occasions, I thought once he cleared kind of the coffee grinds and eggshells up front, that he could have set his feet and just made some throws. Guys opened up, and he took off and ran with it. And I think there's better decisions to make than just to run with it.
I've been underwhelmed with Sam Darnold. And not that he hasn't had some nice throws. I don't know. For some reason, maybe I expected more. I could be wrong, but I've been kind of underwhelmed with him.
Yeah. Well, you got to look at who he's playing with. It does make a difference if Trent's your left tackle. There was a play, Trey Lance, where literally, this is almost hard to do, but the left tackle got beat, the right tackle got beat, and the center got beat. And Trey Lance got crunched. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what the name of the back of the jersey is. When you get hit like that, it affects you. And you can handle one guy getting beat. 3 guys getting beat on a play is hard to handle. And so I saw that, and I feel bad for Trey because he gets hit too often. And he takes off too many times, probably because he doesn't want to get hit like that. Yeah. And he doesn't stay in there and play football from the pocket. I would say Sam, probably Joe, has underwhelmed thus far, but I would like to see both these guys play with everybody, with what Brock Purdy is going to line up with against Pittsburgh. I would like to see that and just see how well they move the team.
Can Trey Lance get better if he's on the scout team or the practice squad? Because Purdy did get better, but also you got to remember he obviously had 4 years of college experience at Iowa State in the Big 12. Trey doesn't have those reps. He doesn't have that experience. So could a guy like Trey Lance get better by just practicing, or does he simply need live game reps to get better in this league?
It's a great question, Bonte, honestly. Yeah. Because the knock on Trey coming out was he had 1 year. Mm-hmm. It's not, if you look at Dorian Thompson-Robinson in Cleveland, who's playing great football, he had 40 starts at UCLA.
Yeah, he looks good.
He was in a battle for Los Angeles last year with USC, and it was a great game. Mm-hmm. And the stands are full, and it's big-time football. And Chip is an innovative coach. He looks good right now. I think he'll be the backup in Cleveland. Aiden O'Connell played 2 full years, at Purdue, and came up from the 8th-string quarterback as a walk-on and had to be good in every detail to throw for 500 yards against Michigan State. He looks good. Mm-hmm. When you don't play a lot of football and you struggle because of injuries or whatever it is, I don't think, to your question, Bonte, I don't think you're going to improve a lot. Mm. And look, you can draft talent and say the upside is going to make up for it. But if you're not playing, you never get to the upside.
Right.
And so I think when you evaluate these guys, you have to take in the number of starts more than sometimes they do, whether it's Anthony Richardson or Trey Lance or whoever.
What would you do with them?
Number of starts matter.
Baldy, if you were running the 49ers then, and this is a tough question, but so then what do you do? Do you just move on from him, or do you keep him internally? I don't know. I think they're in a really tough spot. I don't know what they do.
Well, look, you can dress 3 quarterbacks right now. So you can dress all 3 guys right now. Whatever the order is, whether it's Sam and Trey or Trey and Sam, you don't. But the history says, and it's not a good history, that the 49ers are going to need 1, 2, or 3. They're going to need 2 or 3 quarterbacks to finish the season. It's just their history, whether there's a jinx or a hex or whatever. So I don't think there's any benefit to putting a for sale sign in Trey Lance's yard. I don't see there's any benefit to it. Let the kid hang in there. And maybe he's got to finish a game. Maybe you need him. So I don't think you're going to get the value for him if you said, let's go trade him to Green Bay or somebody. I don't know. Right. But I don't see there's any value to it. So you hang on to him. And if you need him, maybe he could come off the bench at some point this year and his game gets elevated from what we have kind of witnessed this year. The only problem, honestly, with any young quarterback, and I still put Trey in that category, is this team is loaded, and they're ready to win right now. And it's hard to develop a quarterback with a team that's ready to win and win a lot of games. You just living with the mistakes, which you have to do with a young quarterback, and an inexperienced quarterback is not worth it right now.
I'm with you there, Baldy. By the way, where are you located at right now? Are you in Jersey?
I'm looking out at the Atlantic Ocean here in Fort Lauderdale right now.
Oh, Fort Lauderdale. See, I thought you was in New York City. I was going to tell you to go stop by and say hello to Nick Bosa, who's in New York City right now. Looks like at his agent's office. So I was going to say go get a bite with Small Bear.
Because if he was here in Fort Lauderdale, I'd walk right down the beach to his apartment, knock on the door and say, what the hell are you thinking about, Nick?
Well, he's not there, Baldy. He's in New York City. So hopefully that's a good sign of things to come. But look, the Bosa stuff. Shazka and I got off on the wrong foot on the show today talking about Bosa. And I'm with you, Baldy. I'm not concerned about him right now. I believe the deal will get done. The Niners have showed in the past 7 years that they will pay their players, but he's not at camp. As we go along here with training camp and we're 19 days away from opening day or opening kickoff against the Steelers, should the concern meter go up here for 49er fans with Bosa not in camp yet?
Well, the new thing is to be a hold-in, right? We're there every day, and we'll get it worked out. That's baloney. This is business. Yeah. Like, there's no, to me, I don't agree with any of that. The player has leverage. He's the defensive player of the year. They have paid every star on that team. Every star has gotten paid. He's their best player. You pay your best players in this league. He's their best player, and it's all upside. So, look, I'm here beating the drum. I'm sure John Lynch and the Yorks don't really love hearing this. But you have paid your best players, okay? So Nick is next in line, and everybody has known that. For 2 years in a row, you've known you got to pay Nick. Now, I don't know what the holdup is. Like, there is every defensive tackle except for Chris Jones got paid this year. And one got paid a little bit more than the other. You're talking about Quinnen Williams. Jeffrey Simmons got paid. Deron Payne got paid. Like, they all got paid. So Chris Jones is like, I'm better than all of them. And he is. All right, I'm going to sit on the sidelines here. And when he gets done, and I'll tell you a quick story. I remember 1984, Randy White was our best player in Dallas. He'd been to the Pro Bowl every single year for 6 straight years in a row. He was our best player, and he's a holdout. He put a sign in his yard, gone fishing. And he did. He literally went bass fishing in East Texas. And we opened up against the Rams in Anaheim at the Big A on Monday night. And guess who was in our starting lineup that day? Randy White. And nobody had seen him until he came to the locker room that day and put his uniform on and went out and balled out. And if Nick Bosa shows up in Pittsburgh on September 9th, he's going to ball out. And whether you're concerned or not concerned, I believe he'll be in the lineup he'll be in the hotel September 9th.
I'm with it, Baldy. I'm with it, man. Does that help you? Does that put a smile on your face, Shasky?
No, but to his original point, yes, could he come in and play? Absolutely. Right. I just want him here. I'm a Niner fan. He's our best player. I just want him in uniform. I don't even need to see him play in the preseason. I just want to know that the guy's ready to roll so we can win a Super Bowl.
You know what's interesting though, Joe? Because this is how you know somebody is a great superstar player. They've got good players. Kevin Givens had a good game the other night. This kid Barrett's a pretty good player. They don't look special at all. But they don't have, I know Drake's not out there right now, but Nick's not there. So if you took Fred out of the linebacking core, and when he left, they're not special. They're good.
Agreed.
They're just not special.
Agreed.
You need your star players. They just change the game.
No doubt. No doubt. Baldy, we'll talk to you
See
next
you,
week. Preseason will be over. We'll talk about this quarterback stuff again. Maybe post his sign by then, and then we can talk about what he can do to affect the quarterback here in Pittsburgh. Baldy, take care, my man. We're loving the breakdowns as always.
We're getting close, guys. I can't wait, man. This is going to be the best, the wildest, and the most fun ride any of us have ever been in a football season.
Oh, I can't wait. You're so right, Baldy. I can't wait.
See you, buddy.
All right, Baldy.